Attorney General, thank you so much for sitting down with us on Kansas City on the Record. We appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for actually coming to my office here in Jefferson City.
Yeah, it was our pleasure to come on down. So before we talk about pharmacy manufacturers and the benefit managers of it all, I want to start with why this matters and begin with what story kind of struck at the core of this issue for you that made you go, this is an issue that Missouri needs to tackle?
Well, so diabetes is a disease that affects so many Missourians, and it's not like an optional medical care. It's not an elective surgery. If you don't have insulin, you could die from your diabetes. And hearing that 1 in 4 people who are diabetics can't afford their insulin, that's what really moved me to want to do something about this.
And in the lawsuit, I mean, you spell out how in other countries you can get this medication for as little as, $5, and you come over here and that skyrockets to $300, $400. I mean, it's like a 6,000% increase. How does that even happen?
Well, it happens in our allegations when manufacturers and pharmacy benefit managers cooperate with each other to set a price. And so what happens is the manufacturers continue to increase their price over and over again. The pharmacy benefit managers, who are the ones who have to put it on their formulary, we're getting really in the weeds here, then start demanding rebates, which would be okay if those rebates got passed on to the patients, but they don't. And it becomes the profit margin for these pharmacy benefit managers, the PBMs. So that's why we're going after them. We think that they have a lot of money in their pockets that really should belong to the patients. So we want to enjoin them from continuing this practice and get some restitution for Missourians.
Following up on the restitution point, what exactly does that look like? What would Missourians gain by you winning this?
Well, hopefully they'll gain money in their pockets and going forward, much more affordable insulin. So diabetics are going to probably have to opt in. We'll see what procedure the court lays out. But there will be some mechanism where the people who've been overpaying for their insulin can recover some of that money.
Okay. And does this matter whether it's somebody who has insurance or is uninsured, or is this no matter what, if you have diabetes and you're dealing with this issue, you're up for?
Again, it'll be a little bit of an obligation of what the court wants to do. But probably the patients will have to show that some of this money came out of their pocket. But it might be co-pays, even if they're insured, deductibles. There's a lot of ways that patients end up paying, not just by being cash payment patients.
So it's okay to get in the weeds because, we all know this is the bottom line here. It's people's pockets and it's our health as well, which you spelled out at the top of this interview. And when we look at the pharmaceutical chain and you talk about PBMs in particular, what I realized in your lawsuit that you really spelled out and kind of pointed to heavily is this 2021 Senate report. And that Senate report was a 2-year investigation. And within that, it was really kind of building its case as well. I was curious, what did that report indicate to you that made it clear that this wasn't a matter of market forces, that this was something that is coordinated?
Yeah, it was the cooperation between the manufacturers and the PBMs that was pointed out in the report, and the contrast with what it actually costs in other countries. There was no evidence in the report that this was a cost of manufacturing, a cost of distribution. It was very evident that this was strong desire on the part of the manufacturers and the PBMs to simply make more profit and more money. And that's really infuriating to me. It's great if it's a free and open market and demand drives a price, but this isn't that. This is the manufacturers and the distributors working together to artificially inflate a price, and it really hurts people. It's insulin. There isn't a replacement for it. There isn't something else that people who are suffering from diabetes can do to treat their symptoms. And as we talked about before, it can be fatal.
Well, you are going after 19, I believe it is, whether it's manufacturers, the PBMs. And what I realized was that the Federal Trade Commission has also been, turning its attention for a couple of years now towards this very same issue, and is also going after what it calls the big three, which are 3 that you've got also listed in your lawsuit. And I want to read this for folks at home so they can see this. You're going after CVS Caremark, Express Scripts Cigna, and Optum Rx, all companies that, we hear that and we know exactly what they are. But depending on the timing of this, how does the outcome of the FTC's pursuit with the big three affect your case?
So I think, and I don't know every detail of the FTC suit, but my best prediction of how they'll sort of mesh together is that the FTC suit is asking for the same thing that we are in terms of bringing the price down going forward. I don't think it'll have as much of an impact on the restitution we're seeking. So the FTC suit will be a big help in making sure that this drug is much more affordable for people going forward.
And we mentioned the Senate report as well, and I kind of want to turn to something that your predecessor had done. I think it was back in April of 2025. Then Attorney General Andrew Bailey had signed a letter with dozens of other attorneys general across the nation, really requesting that Congress do something about this. But you filed the petition. So what happened from then, signing that in April of 2025, to now that led you to feel it's time?
Well, the problem is nothing happened. Congress didn't do anything, and we got tired of waiting, and we got tired of Missourians suffering.
And that was it.
That was it.
I do know that there has been a bill that's been introduced by local legislators, and it's in the very beginning phases. But what does it mean for the case, and just generally for Missourians, that there is kind of a bit of a cohesion at this moment between your suit? There's a little bit of congressional action that's underway. You got the FTC. It's kind of coming at all sides. What does that mean for the Missourian?
Well, for the Missourian, hopefully it's going to mean that we're going to solve this problem. And so all of those things are just momentum in the right direction. It's further evidence that we're right, that this is what's actually going on. And any support we can get from any quarter to solve the problem. I don't care who solves it or who gets the credit. I just want people to start paying less for this drug that they have to have. So if the FTC gets there and fixes it first, great. If Congress gets there and fixes it first, great. If the General Assembly across the street fixes it, all of those are good things. I just want this outcome for Missourians.
Well, and I can sense it. You're like, nothing was happening. We needed to do something. There's, a timeliness factor to this, because we know, and especially with health, every second counts. Any moment that somebody can or not have access to a medication can be the difference between life and death. How long do you believe this may take to come to an outcome?
Well, that's the sad part. Litigation moves slowly. So I am hopeful that we'll see something by the end of this calendar year, but that's like a whole year. So it's a slow process. We are asking for injunctive relief, which will move a little bit more quickly than just the dollar part. So hopefully we can stop the practice before we get to the point where we win an award for restitution. But it is too slow for my taste. I like to go a little faster.
What does this mean beyond, because this is focused on diabetes medications and insulin in particular, but going after something like this in this issue, and again, it's a pharmaceutical chain, how much weight could this have on maybe other issues that we're seeing with, chronic diseases and access to medications and the cost, the affordability of it?
Well, I'm hoping that it teaches everybody involved a lesson, that they can't collude with each other to increase their profits. Sure, supply, demand, normal market forces. There are big investments made by pharmaceutical companies in research and development. All those things have been in the marketplace for a long time and seem like they're fair. This, which is an old drug, it's been around for a long time. We're not investing a bunch of money in research and development. What has changed is this collusion. It's not that the drug has changed or that there's been some big advance. There are more people who are diabetic than ever before, so that's been somewhat of a change. But the message I hope they get is don't collude with each other, don't do it on this drug, don't do it on other drugs, because we will come. And as the whole country starts to think more and more about affordability, like it's a real crisis. In housing, we see people not marrying as quickly. Lots of things cost more money today, and people are really feeling it. Our office is going to continue to look for opportunities to stand up for the consumer's ability to afford as much as possible. I'll give you one other example that's going on right now. Our investigators found that Dollar General stores are charging a different price at the cash register than is marked on the shelves. We did 5,000 undercover buys. We figured out that on average, consumers paying about $7 more at the cash register than was marked on the shelves. That's an ongoing suit. We've had some settlement negotiations. If we're not able to settle it, it'll go to trial this summer. And look, if you're shopping at Dollar General, it probably means either that cash is short in your house or that you live in a rural area. $7 over and over again can make a real difference for you.
Absolutely. And thank you for providing that example, because it is a huge issue, affordability, and you don't have to go far or go that wide to speak with people and feel that that is a big issue in households across the state. Before we wrap this up, I do want to talk about the repercussions of this. It's something that's mentioned in the lawsuit, and it's what is your message for the person who is maybe rationing right now? As you navigate this process that you say is, not as quick as you would like, but what message would you want to leave for them?
I mean, I want to tell them that help is on the way. I wish it was going to come faster, but we're going to help. We're going to reduce the price. We're going to win this, and we know people are counting on us. We really do take this very personally and know it has an impact on real people's lives.
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, thank you so much for your time and your insight. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity.